Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good moment to you wherever you are on this earth. I'm Julie Ling, and from somewhere on this sweet, wild, sacred earth, and from the wild sweetness of my very own heart, this is the voice of wonder. Thank you for joining me. As I was tuning in this morning, a word came to me. The word is integrity. And we think of integrity so often, and the current meaning is to act in accordance with our values. And yet the root of the word is the same as the word integer, which means a whole number. The root of this word is wholeness, is wholeness. And wholeness means, to me, at least, all parts welcome. All of us, our wholeness. Nothing placed in shadow, nothing cast aside, nothing dismissed. It means wholeness. And I think there's a deeper way of living in integrity. Yes, it's important to live in a way that honors our values. Absolutely. And we are all of us human. And sometimes there's a part of us that can't. I've mentioned this before, and it's worth saying again. I've learned over the last couple of years that so often when another didn't behave the way I wished they would, or I wanted, or I thought they should, I assumed that it was because they wouldn't. And I felt very hurt and suffered a lot over that. This is big for me. My throat is tight as I'm speaking about it. And I've come to realize that that's pretty much never the case. Even the won'ts come from a part of us that can't. That invariably the thing I wish the person would do and felt so hurt that they didn't do wasn't something they wouldn't do. It was something they couldn't do. I had someone say that to me, and I was so astonished because my pattern had always been to go in and wonder what was wrong with me, that someone would choose to treat me in a way that felt hurtful to me. And what they said was, "Why would you deprive us of your gifts? Why would you do that when you could help, when we need your help?" That opened my eyes a lot. And this morning, as I was thinking about integrity, I realized that perhaps it's true on the inside as well. That the moments where we don't live in accordance with what we say are our values aren't because we're weak or because we won't or we just don't care or because we're somehow less of a person. It's because there's some part of our wholeness that needs our love, needs our healing, needs to be brought into wholeness. Some part that we've pushed away, we've decided is less, we've learned through the course of our life is dangerous to have, and so we push it away and we lose its original gift. And it comes out sideways. And it keeps us. Our pushing it out results in it coming out in a way that's sideways so that we aren't able to live in harmony with our gifts. And the part that's out of integrity is the part that we've pushed away. We're not worse, we're not less. We're not allowing our own wholeness. And often that's a part that we've condemned as not in alignment with our values because we can't see its value. We can't see the value of that part of us. And I'm just going to invite you to drop in to consider this while I play some flute, which helps to open the heart, the part of us with the greatest magnetic field and force and power. Maybe there's a part of you that's been cast in shadow, by you, perhaps by a younger self, because it wasn't safe to own. Maybe your heart can hold that part of you right now. Just noticing if your heart holds some tenderness for this part of you that you unwittingly trying to please your parents or your teachers or your spiritual community or your friends or your mentors that you have cast aside. Just letting your heart hold and meet this part of you a little bit more. Just holding it in the presence of your own heart and letting the breath come in to help. Noticing the breath that breathes you in and out and in and out. Opening as it breathes in and releasing as it recedes like a wave, washing up over you, filling you with love, and the breath of kindness that releases any judgment you've held, or a little more judgment that you've held, simply letting it go, just noticing the breath coming and going. And just contemplating the possibility that perhaps someone you've had trouble with, someone who's done something that felt deeply critical or judgmental, or that touched your wounds in such a painful way, and it was perhaps someone that you trusted and loved, and you didn't expect this hurt from them, and you couldn't imagine how they would do something that landed so painfully or felt cruel to you. the possibility that it wasn't that they wouldn't do what you'd wished for. It was that they couldn't. Because of some wound of theirs, they couldn't. It doesn't take away the pain, and maybe it takes away some of the suffering, just to consider for this day that the places where others have seemed out of integrity to you may have been because of their wounding of parts to survive. They put in shadow, they're brushed away, that have come out sideways. And maybe the places where you have felt pain or shame or embarrassment that you were not able to act in the way that you would have wished. Yes, they've had the impact they had, and they grew from something you did to survive. Perhaps it eases some of the suffering you may have experienced over things you perhaps thought you wouldn't do, and why wouldn't you do them when you couldn't, or you wondered why you couldn't. And this is why, because you weren't able to. In order to survive, you put parts of yourself in shadow, you disowned them, and there's no blame. We are always doing the best we can. We all have wounds. We all have places where we've suffered. And blame and shame don't heal. Shame is the lowest vibration you can hold and still be alive on this planet. And I invite you today to let it go, or let a little of it go, and allow the love in your heart to hold you, even in a place that may still feel painful. Just breathing this in, dropping in, letting yourself settle into your heart, which loves all of you. Into your heart, whose field is so big it can hold all of you. And in that spaciousness, allow yourself to settle into the singing bowl of your hips and feeling what's true for you there. Just that. Just that. And letting the breath that is grace soothe anything that's come up. Letting it soften anything that's come up. And feeling this vibration in the singing bowl of your hips. Just noticing as the breath rises and falls, soothing and letting go, blessing, and with a breath of kindness, blowing away what no longer serves you, what is no longer needed. As it comes in, perhaps dissolving a little piece of shame you might have carried over something you can't believe you did, or something someone else did that felt like it was done to you. And with a breath of kindness, just noticing this breath of kindness that comes and goes within you, letting it be blown away, even a little bit, and remembering that a shift of a single degree can change the trajectory of a lifetime. And as you go on about your day today, I invite you to take with you to entertain. Maybe make some tea and cakes and sit down with the notion, or just buy them, or tea and toast. I love that it used to be a saying on the back of one of the Celestial Seasonings boxes that said, "Why have bread and water when it can so easily be tea and toast?" And perhaps these things that we've regretted and hold against ourselves could simply, with a little warmth, a little ambrosial fire from our bellies, the warmth of our hearts, instead of bread and water, can become tea and toast. Where's a part of you that you've set aside that you can nourish just a little bit today, that you can bring love to a little bit today? Because the shame and the blame, that trick never works, Bowinkle. Those things tend to deepen the parts we don't like and make it harder to let go of them, harder to let them into our wholeness. And healing is not the fixing. It is never getting rid of. It is making whole. Even when an organ's been removed energetically, it's still there. People who've had limbs amputated still feel pain in them. And healing is embracing all of it into our wholeness. And I hope today is a tiny IV drop of that that serves and nourishes you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Julie Ling. Today I invite you to let your heart sing a soft and soothing song of welcome to any part of you that you may have cast aside, that's waiting for the love that's already here inside of you. Have a beautiful and blessed day.